Am I the jerk for not letting my sister's kids bring candy in my house? I need some outside perspective because my family is pretty split on this, and honestly, it started to make me question myself. So here's the deal. I'm 28 years old, and earlier this year, I finally bought my first home. I've been saving for years, working overtime, cutting back on luxuries, saying no to vacations just to make it happen. This house is more than just a place to live. It's my little sanctuary. It's not big or fancy, but it's clean, organized, and it's mine. That matters a lot to me. One of the big things about my house is that I'm very particular about keeping it tidy. I'm not a total neat freak, but I do have certain rules. For example, no shoes on the carpet, no pets on the furniture, and absolutely no sticky food or drinks outside of the kitchen. This might sound strict, but I've seen how quickly a small mess can spiral into stains, bugs, or just extra stress. Now on to my family. My sister, who's 32, has 2 kids, a 5-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl. They're honestly sweet kids. I love them, and I enjoy being Annie. But, as kids do, they can be messy, especially when it comes to food. And their favorite thing in the entire world? Candy. Lollipops, gummy worms, chocolate bars, you name it. They'll happily eat candy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if they could. Here's where things get tricky. My sister doesn't really believe in rules when it comes to food. She's very much a let kids be kids type of parent. That means if they want gummy bears before dinner, she says yes. If they want to carry sticky lollipops around the house, she shrugs. It doesn't bother her if the wrappers end up under the couch or if the juice spills on the rug. She'll say, "Oh well, that's what childhood is." Now, I don't want to judge her parenting, but in my home, I have different standards. I don't allow candy in the living room or bedrooms, because I know from experience it leads to ants, stains, or worse. So, whenever they come over, I try to make it clear. I'll provide plenty of food and dessert, but please don't bring candy into my house. A few weeks ago, I decided to host a family dinner at my new place. I was really excited. It was the first time hosting since moving in, and I wanted everything to go smoothly. I cleaned for days, planned a nice meal, and even baked homemade brownies for dessert so the kids would have a treat. Before the dinner, I texted my sister to remind her, "Hey, can you please not bring any candy into the house? I've got dessert covered." She laughed it off with a, "Don't worry, the kids will be fine." I thought, okay, no problem then. Fast forward to dinner night. My sister and the kids arrive, and the very first thing I see is each kid holding a giant bag of candy. Not a little snack-size pack, but the family-size kind of gummy worms and a bat of lollipops. I tried to stay calm and just said cheerfully, "Hey guys, welcome. But remember, we don't bring candy inside. Can you leave those in the car for later?" The kids looked disappointed, and my sister gave me this look like I was ruining their lives. She said, "Come on, it's just candy. Don't be so uptight." I gently explained, "I've got dessert ready after dinner, but I really don't want candy in the house." The kids pouted, but eventually my sister sighed, rolled her eyes, and took the candy back to the car. Dinner itself went well. Everyone ate, we laughed, and the kids seemed fine. After dinner, when it was time for dessert, I brought out the brownies I had made. The kids perked up and ate them happily, so I thought everything was okay. But here's the twist. Later that night, after they left, my sister sent me a long text. She said I embarrassed her in front of her kids by making a big deal about candy. She told me that I was being controlling and that her kids should feel comfortable and welcome in my house. According to her, I made them feel like they did something wrong just for wanting to bring their favorite treats. I replied politely, saying, "I'm sorry if it upset you, but I've been clear about my house rules. I want my home to stay clean, and I even made dessert to make up for it. I wasn't trying to embarrass anyone. I was just holding a boundary." She didn't respond. A couple of days later, my dad called me and said, "Look, I get your point, but it was just candy. You could have let it slide for one night." Meanwhile, my mom said she completely understood my perspective and thought my sister was overreacting. So now the family is divided, and I feel like I'm caught in the middle. The thing is, I do understand my sister's argument. She wants her kids to feel at home with family, and she probably thought I was being nitpicky. At the same time, this is my house. I worked hard for it, and I feel like I should be allowed to enforce reasonable rules, especially when I offered an alternative. To be fair, I've been asking myself, was I being too rigid? It's not like a single piece of candy would destroy my home. Maybe I could have just let it go, and everyone would have been happy. On the other hand, I feel like that's a slippery slope. If I bend my rules once, does that mean I'm expected to bend them every time? Also, it wasn't just about one candy bar. These were giant bags of sticky candy. If the kids had started eating them, I know there would have been wrappers on the floor, sticky fingers on the couch, and probably gummy worms under the cushions. It's not the kids' fault, they're just kids, but that's why I set the rule in the first place. What bothers me most is that my sister didn't respect it. She knew ahead of time, and she brought the candy anyway. It felt like she was daring me to make a fuss. Another point, I did make dessert. I wasn't being stingy or trying to ruin their fun. I made brownies from scratch, so they would still have something sweet. If I had just said no candy and provided nothing, maybe I'd understand the frustration. But I try to offer a solution. Now, my parents' opinions are weighing on me. My dad is very much a don't rock the boat kind of person. He thinks small rules aren't worth family drama. My mom, on the other hand, has always supported boundaries. So with them split, I can't even rely on their advice. At this point, I don't know if I should apologize just to smooth things over or stand firm and risk more tension. Part of me feels like if I cave, my sister will never take my rules seriously. But part of me also hates the idea of being that aunt who's too strict.